time to tantalize your earbuds with creative makers and shakers. It's Creative Living, the podcast with Jane Klaus.
This is Creative Living, the podcast, and I am Jane Klaus. Thank you so much for hanging out today. Now, if we're talking about tantalizing your earbuds, my guest today can actually tantalize your taste buds too with her love of food and her Southern roots. She is one of America's most popular TV chefs. Now, you know her as a culinary contributor to Good Morning America. You loved her on The Chew, and she stole your heart as a two-time finalist on Top Chef. She's an author, she's a speaker, she's a philanthropist. Oh, wait, there's more. Her enthusiasm is contagious, and she can power a jet airplane with her energy. I'm excited to welcome to the show, Carla Hall. Hi, Carla.
Hi, Jane. You're going to always do my intros. I'm just saying, you're hired.
You got it. You got it. You know, with a massive career, you get a massive intro.
I love it.
Okay, good. You can hire me. I'm right there with you. I'll write your intros for you. Hey, I love this. Cook with love, live with joy. Those are your words. That's your motto. Is that just something you've always lived by?
You know, in a word, yes. And I think it's because I've always chosen things that I want to do. And I'm very intentional about that. If I'm doing something that I don't like, it just zaps too much energy from me. So even though I'm tired, I can look back and say, but I loved it. You know, I absolutely loved it. Even when, you know, and I'm not saying I haven't had challenging times that were zapping, but I was also in a learning mode. The Chew was really hard the first couple of years, but I loved my co-host and I loved learning, but it was so hard. I mean, there were times I would go home and I'm like, oh, oh my God, I can't do it.
What am I doing?
What am I doing?
It's so important to love what you're doing. Sometimes when I do something, it's so fulfilling. I leave and I feel like a millionaire, and I can't explain that to anybody, but it's like, I feel like I'm on top of the world. Like I'm the richest person in the world, but it's because I'm rich with joy.
Yes, but you're energized. That particular event or thing that you were doing energized you, and you're like, it's something that I never get tired of, to leave a thing like, wow, I get to do this. Like I get to go to work and enjoy it, and I don't feel the dread. It is like a sense of currency, I think, for our soul. So yes, you feel like a millionaire.
Yeah, and I love this, and you can steal it if you want. Use joy as your compass. So when I'm making decisions about whether I want to do something or not, if it brings me joy, if I feel like it's going to bring me joy,
Yeah.
then I say yes. If I know that it's not, it's the absolute no, then I know. That's how I make a decision.
Yes, 100. My team is so used to me having a gut check before I do something that now they trust. My attorney will literally say, Carla, how do you feel about it? It's like, how do you feel? I'm like, because I do something like this, and it's very similar. If I'm going to flip a coin, I know really if I want it to, like heads is a yes, tails is a no. I already know in my head what I want it to land on. So the act of flipping the coin, and you know, if you're disappointed that it's a no, then you knew you wanted it to be a yes. And so it doesn't matter where it lands. It's the way you feel about it.
Absolutely, your gut check, and flip that coin just to make sure you knew if it came up the one you didn't want, you knew it was the other anyway.
Yes, exactly.
An act of doing it. Now, and one of the things I love to do is talk about creativity and inspiring people to get creative, because it just takes like nothing, and it makes you feel better mentally and physically. And the podcast is called Creative Living. I think one of the best ways to get creative is in the kitchen.
Yes, that's true.
So how can food spark creativity?
So when you are, I mean, first of all, when you look at the plate as a palette, and you look at the ingredients as your colors and your paints and all of that, and you look at the seasonings as kind of a medium to change those colors and paints, and you get to put them together any way you want. But there is some structure to it. So the structure might be cultural references. So is it Greek food? Is it soul food? Is it Italian food? Like all of those cultural references that have groups of spices that make them, um, that puts them in that cultural category. And so you can be creative. But what I love about it is that you can't, yes, I have a recipe, but nature changes her ingredients. Nature changes her paints. So that carrot that you had a month ago is not going to be the same today. So you have to go with it. And do you add more acid? Do you add more salt? What do you add so that that carrot or that painting or that palette of plate of food becomes something different in the moment? And that's the connection that I think sometimes people don't allow themselves to have the power of that.
Wow, that's amazing. And again, your plate of food will never turn out the same. Well, maybe yours were because you're a chef and you serve food, but for regular people, when we get in the kitchen, you kind of lose yourself in flow and try that new cuisine.
Hmm. Yeah, but I think that you have to realize, and I think a lot of times, especially in families, when you're trying to recreate a recipe from a family member, and it's usually a grandparent, and you're like, oh, it just didn't turn out like hers. Do you know how many times that grandmama was making that dish, like for decades, right? And you didn't get her first version or her 10th version. You got her 1000th version, and you have done it twice. Of course, yours isn't going to taste the same. You don't have the same confidence. You don't have the same love. You don't have the same je ne sais quoi that hers has. So you have to give yourself a break. And, I tell people this all the time, and they're cooking with intellect, not with emotion. And you really do need to cook with emotion in all of your senses, the least of really your head. You need your head for measurements, but you have to touch and feel and smell, and then also just bring your heart to it to say, really, what do I feel about this dish?
Yeah, and you know what I love that you just did. When you gave us examples of types of food, you said Greek and you said soul food. You cook soul food and I'm Greek.
Ah, because I'm psychic. I'm the psychic chef. Okay, right.
That's going to be the left-hand turn right now in your career. You're like, I'm the psychic chef. No, I just think it's important for people to get into the kitchen. I think we all sort of went back and found our kitchens during the pandemic, and we learned
Yes.
from people like you how to try new foods. But I love that we rediscovered the kitchen because that can get you to the next level of creativity, not to mention eating healthier and better.
Yeah, I think also people discovered not only that the joy of food was always there. I think they discovered that they had an ability because they had to cook so much that really it was they discovered that practice gets them to the place that they really want to be with food. And that's all, it's always been that way. It's always been about practice, and they had to do it. So you were forced into a regimen that actually produced, like, oh my gosh, I'm a great cook. Yes, you are, because you practiced, and I love that. And so now it's about people are excited to get new techniques, to find new ways to be creative in the kitchen because they have a sense of confidence. And that's also another way to, whenever you get confident, you ride a bike, right? First it's a little wobbly. You ride, but then next thing you know, you're doing wheelies, you're doing all these other things because you know how to ride the bike.
Right.
Now you
That's
like put a little juice on it.
right. Put a little lemon juice on it. I mean, that's
Yeah.
it. Practice makes perfect. And that's
Yeah.
why it's so much fun. One of my favorite things to do is to cook for people. I
Yeah. Yeah.
love to watch people eat. It just fills me up with joy. I could be in a restaurant and watch a stranger eating by themselves, and I'm happy because I love watching people eat. I don't know why, but it's just something about food that connects all of us.
Yes. So I have a story about that. I was in Santa Monica at an ice cream store, and I was eating this ice cream. It was so good. I can't remember the flavor, but I remember the chef at the restaurant telling me that he had these fruit trees and he had made this ice cream from those fruit trees. And I was sitting there, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And I could just feel, I mean, the sweetness, the tartness. It was just, I mean, it was just going from my mouth down to my throat, like to my toes. And then this woman comes and she says, oh my gosh, you're Carla Hall, right? I said, yes. She said, oh, I've been over there watching you eat. And I thought that when I saw you on television that you were just playing up for the cameras. And I'm so happy to see that it's real. It's real. Like the way you experience your food is real. I got a little bit embarrassed at first because honestly, when I have something delicious, people disappear. I am just in my own little space. And you know, when you eat something and it's so delicious, the first thing you do is look at the spoon or the fork. You're like, oh, wait, what is this? What are you saying to me?
Yeah.
And then, right, you're like, oh, hold up. What? Yes.
And the second thing I say is, can I get some more?
Yes. Yes.
And, then,
More is
and
always good.
luckily, when you're eating ice cream, there's always another spoonful. But if you're at a fancy restaurant, you get the one bite, the taster, and you get the one bite, and you're like, wait a minute, can I get 2 bites? I love this. I want more. But typically, you get all the other courses with that, so you know even better things are coming. So we're talking about food, connecting people, soul food. Let's talk about soul food because I feel like there's double meaning to soul food. I mean, it's the type of food, but it's
Yes.
also soul food.
So it's interesting that you brought it up because last night when I was at Esquire, people were like, oh, the comfort food. I'm like, it's soul food. Because I would politely correct them because soul food is a cuisine, the same way that you would say Greek food, Italian food, and therefore it is a proper noun. So capital F. And I want to remind people that it is the food of a people, like of a culture. And so, yes, you will have food of the soul. And yes, everybody can have some soulful dish from their culture, but it's very different from a cuisine, which is soul food. You know, and a lot of times people will ask me, well, what's the difference between Southern food and soul food? And quite simply, it is who is making it, who is cooking it. And soul food is the food of Black people. Southern food it can include Black people, but it is the food of a region. And so I unapologetically just lean into that and try to get people to understand. And soul food for me is sometimes like a Negro spiritual, whereas Southern food is like a hymn. You know, you could go, Ave, Ave, Ave Maria. Or you can go, So I'm just saying. So
Oh, yes. I love it. I love it. You can lean on it or you can feel it. I love the description of soul food versus Southern food. And I think it's super important for you to create that awareness. And you're doing that.
Yes, yes. And without the stories behind the dish, you don't really know the dish. And so when I'm doing my food and I'm sharing the recipes, that's why the story is so important, because the story will get you to the feeling of the dish, why you're cooking that food a little bit longer, the depth of flavor, like all of the and I may be doing this dish, but this dish started 300, 400 years ago, right?
And your book, Soul Food Every Day in Celebration, are you giving us those stories in the book?
Yeah, so I tell those stories. And so the one thing that I wanted to do in that book was to broaden the idea of soul food. And I think that when people think about soul food, I don't care if you're Black or anything else, you may say, oh, soul food is fattening. Soul food's going to kill you. I can't eat that. I can't eat that food all the time. Any cuisine has its celebration dishes the same way that soul food has its celebration dishes. Unfortunately, soul food has gotten pigeonholed in those celebration dishes as if it doesn't exist outside of that box. And what I wanted to show was that soul food are like everyday soul food is a part of these indigenous ingredients that we use, like sorghum, millet, black eyed peas, okra. You don't have to stew them. They don't have to be fattened. They don't have to be part of a smothered dish. They can be the everyday dishes that I also had growing up.
Yeah, I love that. All right. So talking about stories, you have a podcast as well.
Well, I had one. It's there, it's out there, and you can still listen to it. Yes,
Mhm.
say
But
yes.
yeah, say yes. So yeah, it's out there. You can still listen to it because you do so many things and we're telling stories. But this podcast that you did called Say Yes is not about cooking. It's about telling stories of success. Why was that important to do?
I wanted to tell those stories and talk to celebrities, so to share with people that you're successful because you failed. You're successful because you went through this journey, and your success didn't start here in this place where you know people. Like they had a whole journey of figuring it out. And a lot of times I think people think, "Oh my gosh, I want to be where you are." If you want to be where I am, then you have to be where I was every single step of the way.
That's right.
And things don't just happen. There's work behind it. There's failure, which is great. And I hate to use the word failure. I want to say lessons.
Yeah,
You know.
lessons. Yeah. And we always hear a lot of no's, right?
Oh, 100%. Oh,
There's way more no's than there are yeses.
yeah. And you still learn from the no's.
You have to learn from the no's.
Hmm.
Was your I know you did other things before becoming the celebrity chef. Was your say yes moment when you decided to do Top Chef?
Yes. Oh, yes. That was one of them. I mean, I want you to. So, one of my say yes moments, I said yes to Top Chef the first time. When they came back for All Stars, I said no several times before I said yes. Even my PR company was like, "Oh, I don't think you want to do it. I don't know." The only reason I said yes was because I was so frustrated with the catering. Because I said yes to Top Chef, the catering business went crazy, and I didn't have the foundation to take that business on. So I was like overwhelmed, and I was saying yes to partnerships that I shouldn't have. Um, so when they came around for All Stars, the only reason I said yes was because one of the producers said, "Make this an opportunity that works for you." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to say yes because I don't want to say I don't cater anymore. I don't know what I'm going to do." And I was like, "Okay, I think I'll just make little cookies." I literally went on to change my story, to change what I was doing.
And that was a vessel to do that because you were given that
Yeah.
opportunity. I mean, I love Top Chef, but what a great show. And I loved your season and a huge fan of the Chew. So for me, just watching you evolve into this like, iconic television personality has been so much fun. And so we can get inspired by people like you, and especially, you're telling other people's stories too.
Yes, and you know what I remind people? So Top Chef, when I did it the first time, was 14 years ago. I
Yeah.
mean, in that 14 years ago. So I try to tell a lot of young people, and a lot of my success and failures have been public. Whereas a lot of people can say yes and no privately, and nobody really knows when you succeed or when you fail. My Yes, the Chew was very successful. So you saw me there. You also saw when it ended. You saw me try a restaurant for a year and then it closed. That was very public. So one of the things that has been the greatest lessons of this growth that people see me in is also when something doesn't work out. And I don't mind that. And I will talk about it very publicly because that is part of the process. And so in a way, and I hope people are inspired to keep going when they see that, okay, that didn't work out for her, but she kept going. You know,
Yeah.
it's just
And
as
and
powerful.
it is part of the process for you, for us, and it shows us that you pick up, you keep going, and it shows a positive attitude because really that's the foundation of how things continue and the
Mhm.
love for the things that you do.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
So let's talk about Chicago because you're on record as saying it is one of your favorite cities, friend.
Yes. Yes. It is one of my favorite cities. It's one of my favorite food cities. I love the architecture in Chicago. I love the feel of it. I love the people. I love coming here in the spring where the people come out like flowers. I mean, they blossom. Everyone is so happy. Everyone is like a flower on the Magnificent Mile. I mean, they are just joyful. It is unlike any city that I've ever been in. It's true. It's true.
I love that.
And you all will wear shorts before anybody else will. Maybe it's somebody in
Mhm.
North Dakota they're wearing shorts at 40 degrees. But I just love, I just love how people just blossom in the springtime. And I love the different restaurants. I love all of the different cultures here. And it's not just about pizza. It's not just about Italian food. There is so much more to Chicago. And I just love it. I love the vibe.
Chicago is a food destination, and that's one of the
Yes.
reasons why people come here. You're in town as part of a visiting chef series at Esquire by Cooper's Hawk. What are you doing?
Oh my God. So I have 10 items on the menu. They reached out to me. The time and attention to detail that they have given my recipes and my menu is fantastic. I've been working on it with the executive chef, Matt, and then the chef, Nate, the corporate chef, Matt, and then the executive chef, Nate. And for about 6 weeks, and there's Randall, who is the R&D chef, and they got it. We worked on it. I came into town. We tweaked a few things, and it has been fantastic. I mean, honestly, the team, the culinary team, the chefs are having fun with the food, which is more important, which is also not more important. It's also very important to me that they have fun preparing the food because I know that their energy is going to go into the food and people are going to enjoy it. And oh my gosh, they've been doing such a great job. We have a mac and cheese because I'm known for my mac and cheese. My grandmother did an amazing mac and cheese. We had mac and cheese at my restaurant, but we're doing a lobster mac and cheese. And people talk about, oh my gosh, my mac and cheese has 4 cheeses, it has 5 cheeses. Look, I have one good cheese. I have one good aged cheddar cheese, and it is a beautiful sauce. And we take a lobster stock, reduce it, and fold it into that sauce. And there's a little bit of mustard powder because that intensifies that sharpness of the cheese. And we're using shell pasta. That sauce goes into those shells, so when you eat it, it pops,
Mm,
and there are
mm,
chunks, not
yum.
flakes, but chunks
Mm,
of claw meat, and then
mm,
there is a half a tail of lobster on top.
mm.
So
What?
we are doubling down on the celebration dish of lobster mac and cheese. I'm going to tell you. And Jane, and there are little tiny croutons of cornbread.
Oh, croutons of cornbread.
Yes. And so the reason I did that, when we go to my grandmother's house, and she always made her mac and cheese, she always had her cornbread. She would never make the cornbread until we were on the inside of the door. And so I wanted to show this dish. And I know that in soul food, seafood is a big part of just the love and a sign of celebration. So I wanted to put all of that together for this dish.
That sounds amazing. By the way, my husband and I had our first date over mac and cheese, and that's kind of like our thing. So now that is on a must-do list for our Tuesday night date night is Carla Haas mac and cheese at Esquire.
Yes. Yes.
So you've got 10 items on the menu. Give us
Mhm.
the laundry list of those items besides the mac and cheese. Do we need more?
So you have black eyed pea hummus with my
Mm.
biscuit crackers, and then you have the confit black eyed peas on top and vegetables because I really want that's an everyday dish. But I also take those biscuits, and they're cut, and then they're like crackers, like Stacy's pita chips,
Yeah.
but they're Carla's biscuit crackers.
Love your
And then
biscuit.
you have and then you have the cracked shrimp. If anybody has gone to the Bahamas and they crack conch where they pound it and then they bread it and fry it. So that's what we're doing to these jumbo shrimp. We're cracking them and we're serving them with a comeback sauce. It's called comeback sauce, which is a sauce from Mississippi. It's called comeback because you're going to keep coming back for more.
Yeah.
And that is so amazing. I've got a barbecue spiced carrots with sorghum and arugula. It has a lemon vinaigrette and a carrot emulsion on the bottom. It is bright. It is just beautiful. And it's a great addition to all of these fattier dishes if you want to balance those flavors. I have a whole fried red snapper but it is deboned. It comes up sitting on those barbecue spiced carrots with that carrot emulsion sauce on the bottom. It is beautiful. Last night, people were like, "Oh my gosh, that snapper!" I'm like, "I know."
I want one of everything because it all sounds so great.
Yeah, the strip steak with smashed potatoes and roasted green beans. Girl. Girl.
Yes.
I mean, here
Yes.
you know what the meat is like here in the Midwest. It is such a beautiful cut of meat. I'm going to keep talking about the proteins because of course my hot chicken is on the menu. Yes, the hot chicken is served with some spicy sweet pickles and a slaw. And it is delicious. It's not too spicy. It is crispy. It is flavorful. The chicken is juicy. The sleeper on the menu, and I'm telling you this because I think people are going to overlook it, is the buffalo chicken burger. I did that because my mother loves chicken. My mother will go to a sushi restaurant and still ask for chicken. I'm like, Mama, they don't have any chicken for you, baby. They don't have any chicken for you. But it is coarsely ground white and dark meat. And then it has like sauteed onions and garlic and hot sauce and spices in the meat, folded in, seared. And then there is a shaved carrot and blue cheese, shaved celery and blue cheese slaw with a spicy mayo. And it is resting between a sweet potato roll, which are the rolls that I make for my family during holidays.
I mean, my mouth is watering. I'm trying to like swallow my saliva because this guy is grabbing on the spoon. I'm like, that sounds delicious.
And then you're going to have desserts. And
yeah.
It wouldn't be a soul food menu. I mean, okay, you could have had peach cobbler, but I don't. There is no peach cobbler. But there is banana pudding. And it is banana pudding with vanilla shortbread, which are cooked so perfectly and crispy that you're going to just like move over Biscoff cookies because we've got Carla's
vanilla wafers. we got Carla's. We got Carla's
crunchy vanilla shortbread, and they're crunchy in the center, and the banana mousse is just light and fluffy because it's lightened with whipped cream, and it's topped with a meringue and then toasted.
Are you in there cooking until you leave Chicago?
No, I'm not cooking. I've been in the kitchen. Oh, wait, I didn't even mention that my buttermilk biscuits are with the hot chicken.
Oh, we love the buttermilk biscuits. Your biscuits.
I was in the kitchen making the biscuits a couple weeks ago because I was like, they're like, Carla, the biscuits are great. I'm like, well, we're just going to make them a little bit better. And then I went to the kitchen and I showed them. I mean, it's a process, but it's just like getting in and just showing. I'm like, these are my babies. So I love making biscuits. I do it for a service. I go to people I'm like, I want to teach you how to make a biscuit.
I love that. That's a great idea. Well, you have a cookbook to do that, but you can come over anytime. I have a new kitchen. We just moved. You can show me how to make a biscuit. It'll be great.
Jane, just say the word. When I come back to Chicago, seriously, we should do that. I can also do it over Zoom if you want to do.
I want you to have here so we can have a party.
Okay, cool. No, yeah.
And then I'll cook you some Greek food. How about that?
Oh my, I love Greek food.
Yeah, that's my specialties. That's all I can cook. I don't speak Greek, so I told my yaya, I said I'm going to learn how to cook all Greek because it's making up for me not speaking Greek.
Oh my gosh, you seriously? I mean, seriously, we have to do it. I love Greek food.
I love it. So your stuff is on the Esquire menu for how long? Because I want to give people a chance to book their airfare since people all over the country will be listening to this.
Mm-hmm. It is on the menu until October 2nd.
Okay, so we got some time.
Yeah, you have some time.
Okay, I want to do a speed round with you really quick to cover some topics to find out how you get creative with these topics. Okay? So speed round, quick answers. Fitness.
Tonal.
Flexitarian diet.
Oh my gosh. I do vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, and meat.
Antiques.
Rolling pins.
Oh, yes, that's good. Mm-hmm. Giving back.
Oh my gosh. 4-H, Helen Keller, Gen Youth, and there's something else that I do. Yeah, all the time.
And
Yeah.
people should give back because
Yeah. And I use my platform to give back. I have a checklist. I tell people it's about kids, empowerment for women, and food insecurity.
amazing. And lastly, the secret to a successful dinner party.
Mm, make something that you already know how to make. Put together a joyous group of people who love to eat, and give yourself a break if things don't go well.
Give yourself a break. Amen, sister. How do you hope to inspire people to live creatively?
Everybody has a way that they're going to create, and you have to honor yourself. Everybody is creative. They think that there aren't, whether it's with food, words, crafts, they are very creative, whether it's in conversation with others. And so understand that somebody else's outlet for creativity is not yours, but you do have it. And I have to tell you that we're talking about creativity, and one of the other ways that I'm very creative in food, and I know that's what the podcast is about, but I also do art. So I love paper. I love working with my hands. I love watching people work with their hands. Like I love watching people cook, and like the confidence of handwork. So and I draw, and I just love crafts. I love. So right now I'm working on paper quilts.
Oh, paper quilts?
Yes. I don't know if you know, like your grandma, like back in the day in the 30s, there were these yo-yo quilts where you fold paper into, I mean, well, there were quilts made with little circles, like little beggar's purses, and they would sew them together. I was missing my grandmother's quilt. I thought it was lost. And so I started doing it with paper. And now I get quilting magazines, but instead of making them with fabric, I do the patterns with paper on a canvas.
How did you did you learn how to fold the circles or you just made it up?
No, I had to make it up, and I love the process of things. So when I
Yeah.
first did it, I was hand cutting circles. I found something that was a semicircle, and I was tracing it over folded paper. I would cut it out, and then I was folding them. Like, wait, I need a form. So then I found a piece of cardboard the same size of the once it was folded, and then I put that in there, and then so the whole process I had to. I'm like, okay, now this is better. And then this is more consistent. I literally think like a chef when I'm doing something. Like, what is the way that I get something more consistent? That's just how I think.
I love the efficiency.
Yeah.
Those quilts are just amazing. Where are they?
They're at home, but two people have asked me to do a show. So I don't want to sell my originals. I'm going to do a digital copy and do NFTs, and then I'm going to print them, but then I'm going to put yo-yos on the print, so the prints are also unique. And yeah, so I'm doing that in Jackson, Mississippi. And then there was a person in New York who wanted to show them.
Oh, they're just gorgeous. That's amazing.
Mhm.
Carla, I sew. And that's my creative outlet.
Mhm.
So I love to repurpose old clothes and turn them into something new. And so I'm always making an apron. I'm always making a home decor, table decor. So I'm going to make you an apron so that you can wear it when you're cooking.
I would love that. I would
I
absolutely love that.
I can't wait to do it, and I'll send it to you, and it'll be so much fun.
Yeah, and then I'll send you a little tiny paper quilt.
Yeah.
Oh, there was something else we didn't even talk about. I'm on Gossip Girl.
What? I didn't know you're on Gossip Girl.
I'm on the Gossip Girl reboot.
No way.
Yes. I'm on
love
the
it.
first one, and then I will be there again on season 2. I'm so excited.
What are you doing on Gossip? Are you playing yourself or are you playing a character?
I'm a character. I am a chef, Rocky, and I am the chef of Max and his 2 dads.
Mhm.
So yeah, Mhm.
Well, and so you go back to film, but when do we get to see them?
September. I think Gossip Girl season 2 is airing in September.
Okay, we're gonna look out for that.
Yeah.
Carla Hall, actress, Gossip Girl,
Yeah.
and paper quilt maker,
I
artist.
said yes. I know, Jane.
You said yes.
Yes.
I'm going to go live my life saying yes the rest of this day. I think it's amazing. I'm going to the Cubs game later. I'm like, how can I sneak into that Esquire tonight? I might have to go there before Cubs game.
I know. Seriously, come and get you a buffalo chicken burger because it's in keeping with the game.
I'm saying,
And
and my husband's from Buffalo, New York.
You stop it. Look at, oh my God.
So let me think about your apron. Do you want me to use t-shirts or do you want, yeah, because I make aprons out of recycled t-shirts.
I love the t-shirts.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Do people just send you their t-shirts?
Yeah, I have so many t-shirts. I have mountains of t-shirts and a lot of, and listen, I don't sell anything, Carla. I just make stuff for people. And I'm just like, here, like, I just make it for them. And I'm like, wear this. And they love it. Like I made some Buffalo Bills aprons for my husband's niece and her new husband. And do you know Graham Elliott?
Yes. Oh my God. I love Graham.
I love Graham too. He's
such
a good friend.
Sweetheart.
He's such a sweetheart. I love Graham. So Graham, being a chef, I made him an apron out of Cubs t-shirts because he's a huge Cubs fan. And he was like crazy. He wears it to the game. He like, I love that. He's going nuts. So I know.
That's amazing.
But I like to have a theme. So I'll have to figure out what your theme is.
Okay. Like what is my theme? I mean, if you have food and wine t-shirts.
Yeah. Maybe something Southern.
Oh yes. Something Southern. Yes. Cause I'm like a Tennessee girl.
Yeah. Okay. I can work
chickens, t-shirts with chickens on them. That would be so fun.
I love it. Carla, how can people get more of you? Where can we go? Where can we find you? Social media, website, all the good stuff.
So carlahall.com is my website. You can find me on Instagram, Carla P. Hall, and I am Chef Carla Hall on Twitter. And then I'm on Facebook. No, maybe I'm Carla Hall, Chef Carla Hall on Facebook, and then Carla Hall on Twitter.
I got good news. We've got the interwebs, and we can just put the 2 words, Carla Hall.
Yes, thank you, Jane. Safe.
Carla Hall, you are an amazing human. Thank you for joining us on Creative Living.
I've enjoyed it very much, and we're gonna make biscuits.
We're gonna make biscuits. We're gonna make everything. Thanks, Carla.
Live better creatively. For more inspiration, visit janeclaus.com. Thank you for listening.